So what I've tried to do is with my love of Ashtanga Yoga from many years, to bring knowledge and wisdom from wherever I find it and apply it to the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. And so how we learn anything, I think, is relevant to how we learn to practice yoga and how we learn to practice Ashtanga Yoga. The technique in Ashtanga Yoga that's really significant is Vinyasa, and the understanding of that as not only the breathing system, which is part of it, the steps that we put together to make up the sequence, the choreography of the practice itself, but the method of Vinyasa as a gradual step-by-step approach, something we'd use to apply to anything that we want to learn. So I felt that people were pushing too hard, going too fast to try to work their way through the sequences in Ashtanga Yoga. And that really we need to bring it back. And I think this was in Pattabhi Jois's teachings, but maybe not obvious. You would say things like, one pose not perfect, next pose I'm not teaching. That Vinyasa really needs to help us to progress at a safe and effective rate, not to be in too much of a hurry. This is what I've tried to do with my teaching, is to bring more instruction to the actual practice of the asanas. We can still follow the traditional sequence. We don't have to be in such a hurry to rush through all the sequences. We don't really need to do a lot of asanas. If you really go deep with one, you learn something essential about all of them. And again, it's not the attainment of any particular measure in terms of how far you go or how fast you go, but what you meet inside yourself through the practice itself. People ask me all the time when I started to practice yoga, and the more I think about it, the more difficult it is to really answer that question. I think this is true for most of us if we really look deeply into ourselves, is that we started to get feelings for yoga even though we didn't know what yoga was, even from a really young age. And then when you finally meet yoga, you recognize this thing that you felt when you were younger. So I had lots of little things like that I've noticed as I've meditated more of them reveal themselves to me. But there's obvious ones. Starting to meditate at the age of 17, I was living in Vermont. I've gone to a free introductory lecture on transcendental meditation. And the teacher was talking about sitting quietly, following your thoughts back to where they came from, to try to get to the origin of your thoughts. And I thought that was a really interesting idea. I started to practice that. And they were trying to sell me on taking a course, giving me a personalized mantra, but I didn't have the money to take the course. I just happened to be at a friend's house. His older brother had a book on his coffee table. The title of the book was Be Here Now. I said, that's a good mantra. So I took that as my mantra from the title of my friend's brother's book, and started using that, what it means, be here now. And that was really transformative for me. A few years later, I bumped into the book Light on Yoga by B.K.S. Iyengar, whose teacher was Krishnamacharya, and it blew my mind. I was very inspired by the book, by Iyengar's writings, by the philosophy of Ashtanga Yoga. And some years later, 6 or 7 years later, I happened to be in the same place where Pattabhi Jois was coming to teach in California, and joined his class. First day he was teaching in Fairfax, California, 1980. I continued practicing with him for many years, up until his death. Took me around the world, took me to India and many places where he was teaching. So I feel fortunate that I met Pattabhi Jois when I did. that he wasn't really popular yet. He became popular during the time that I was practicing with him. And I really got to a point where I felt like I did not need to learn more asana. I really needed to practice the body of practice that I'd already been given. So I became less interested in going to the big classes, more interested in just practicing on my own. And realizing that I didn't need to go further through the sequences, but rather just to go deeper into what I already had as the body of my practice. And that became really formative for my teaching as well as for my practice. I don't invite myself places. I get invited to places and decide where I'd like to go. Usually students who have studied with me somewhere. Speak to somebody who's got a yoga school, invite me to come and teach. It's kept me busy, probably too busy. I'm reaching a stage in life where I'd like to travel less, continue to travel, I continue to enjoy it. There's something about being home that's also very attractive.
其实参加老师的课程，我会更了解自己。
就是喜欢老师那种一直在叮咛我们。
这次的200小时课程中间有纠结，有痛苦。最大的感受是说，让我认清自己，终于可以慢下来了。我才意识到，我之前练了4、5年的瑜伽，我练得有多飘，有多不稳。
How to begin again and again every day, and the meaning of being here, learning and teaching, assisting him. It's a very deep honor, and learning about human consciousness and how to develop this awareness and consciousness of being present every day in life.
重新认清自己，尊重自己，非常感恩老师。
在课堂之外，有一个比较感动的，就是我，在这一年的，就是在去年学习完之后，我就回去有一次我自己练习啊，然后自己上课。每次在练习或者上课的时候，都会想起老师说的一些话。
去年来过，去年跟老师学过一起，觉得还不过瘾。然后今年我特地从意大利飞回来，这还是提早一天才到，在家还是待了5个小时，然后就先来见老师。最主要是还是我就喜欢他那种用那个第一阶的那个体位，用高级的心态去练习瑜伽。我觉得这个是我最受用的一个教导我的方法。还有一种要学到顺位和正位，老师教了我。今年我又学会了一个用精微的方法去练习，这是我今年得到最大的受益的地方。
当时最大的感触是一个老师他怎么可以这么无私，有无限的爱，就是因为当时的一份感动，所以一直念念不忘。然后今年来参加200 TT， 然后以后也会跟着老师继续练习。
Namaste.
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 What would I say to the Chinese students? Is the same thing I would say to students everywhere, and not only everywhere today, but throughout time. It's the same message from the ancient yogis, that our pursuit in our practice is not for the attainment of limited or finite goals. What the Bhagavad Gita says, it's not for the fruits, but for the purity of the action itself. And to translate that into our practice of Ashtanga Yoga, that it's not about doing the postures. That's the biggest mistake everybody's making, is they're trying to do the poses. That's not what they're for. The poses and the whole practice itself is just a tool for observation to help us see ourselves. And through that observation, then to learn how to use the practice to heal ourselves. It's a simple idea, and simple is not easy. But if there's one thing I would say that can really change the practice in a positive way for everybody, that's what it would be.